What's up, guys? So I want to talk about The Faculty today, which I actually just watched for the first time. The Faculty is one of those movies that I've always wanted to see because of the cast, because of it being written by Kevin Williamson, because of it being directed by Robert Rodriguez. It sucks that I took so long to watch this movie because this was an awesome movie, and watching it overall, I really wish that I saw this earlier than what I just did now because this was a really awesome movie, and I love the fact that this came out right whenever Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, all of these 90s slashers came out, and then this movie, made by basically the same people, is a 90s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, mixed with a lot of other little films, and I like this movie a lot, and I liked how this movie was incredibly fun. It does have a lot of 90s isms to it, of course. I mean, it's obviously, it was written by Kevin Williamson, so it's going to have a lot of 90s references. Starting out with the music that plays in the opening credits of the movie is from the 90s, and it's obvious, and it stands out. But I like that. I like that even though this is I guess, time capsule movie, it really is, because it's got all these 90s isms. I think that it still works good, and I really did like the music soundtrack to it, because I really like all these bands that I grew up with, like The Offspring, which was the opening song. And this cast is gigantic. Like, this is one of the biggest, like, cast of giant actors, or actors that became big after this movie. Like, it's funny to see so many people, because you've got like Piper Laurie or Robert Patrick or Josh Hartnett or Elijah Wood, or Selma Hayek. Like, you have all these people who are really either famous or become famous from this movie. Like Josh Hartnett, who this is his second movie released. I believe Halloween H2O and this were released at the same time. I think this was released after, because I think Halloween H2O is in the summer. This might have been released in the summer of '98. But either way, they're both the same. They're like, this is one of his first roles, and that's cool seeing Josh Hartnett, because he became a big star later. And the basic plot of this is that these parasites have taken over teachers. So it's also like the Puppet Masters too. And they even make a reference to that in the movie. Like, is it Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or it's the Puppet Masters, which ripped off Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which ripped off Puppet Masters. I like that line where, like, they're talking about, like, is this what's really happening? Like, is this the actual thing where, like, it's like the Puppet Masters or Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Now, the characters in this movie, like most of the movies that Kevin Williamson writes, I really like how these characters are so relatable, and they're basic. And I feel like people are going to be like, hey, I don't like these characters because they're so 90s. And yes, they are 90s characters, but I really enjoyed these characters. I liked them a lot, and they felt real to me. They felt like they were really, like, the ones that they got into these roles felt like they were real kids. Like, they didn't feel like they were, like, I know some of them were older than teenagers, of course, but I like these characters, and they felt like they were that age. They felt appropriate. They worked for whatever stereotypes they had to be. Like Josh Hartnett as Zeke, who's the stoner kid, or Elijah Wood's character, who's the dorky kid, like Jordana Brewster's character, who was the quote-unquote pretty girl, who, like, later you realize, like, she becomes infected with a parasite. But I like how all these characters fall into these stereotypes, but I liked all the performances. I thought they were all cool, and I thought they were all fun. And I want to mention the score too, because the score it's fine, but again, it sounds so much like Scream or Halloween H2O. This score is basically, like, this is the biggest problem I think of the movie, is the score, because it feels just like you're listening to Halloween H2O or the Scream score again. Like, I don't know if it's the same composer for all these movies, but it's the same score, basically. It feels the same. even though it's technically different, it just feels like it's the exact same score. Um, and I really just overall liked this a lot. I liked how this was a parody type of movie in terms of like, or a spoof. I guess it's a spoof of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers with the Puppet Masters, where like these characters are kind of self-aware, which it's not the same way as like Scream, where like in Scream these characters were self-aware of the tropes of horror movies. In this one, these characters were self-aware that like there were books and movies made out of like the Puppet Masters or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where they were parasites or aliens taken over. And I just liked that. I thought that was really cool, and it was a different type of meta in this movie than as opposed to like Scream, which I like as well. So I really like that, and I really liked how this had a lot of twists to it too. Like these characters, whenever you realize that they have the parasite in them, like it really is a, it genuinely does feel like a twist sometimes, and they have even bigger twists. Like for example, the girl who moves out of town, I forgot what her name is, or moves into town, the girl with the accent. She's the alien, like like she's the actual one, the host, and like like they do that test like in the thing, except for in this one they snort drugs because that'll kill the aliens. But like whenever they have the scene of her doing it, you think she's innocent, and then later you see a scene where it shows like inside of her nose she blocks her hole with like her parasitic thing, and she blocks the hole, so like she blows in. It looks like she blows in the drugs like she's innocent. And I really liked that twist a lot. And I liked how every time it showed this person was a parasite, I thought that was really cool. In that scene where Casey's character, Elijah Wood's character, is running through the behind the bleachers that are closing in, I thought it was a really cool, effective moment. It was really fun. And I liked how it shuts on the alien, like it's stuck there, and then it shoots in those maggot things into Casey's face, so he's just sitting there while they're digging into his face, going into his body literally. But then she dies, and then they fall out of him, so like he doesn't get possessed, but it really was cool. Like it just was a really cool moment. And I really liked the third act. The third act was really fun, and again, everything about this movie was just a very, very fun time, and I like how they do the self-aware thing, but it's different in terms of like, it's not a tropes on horror movies, it's a tropes on like alien parasite movies, like I think, or books. That's really cool. And I just thought it was fun and clever, and it had a lot of cool twists, and I thought these characters were likable. And it's got a great all-star cast, like an incredibly big amount of people in this movie, and it's just insane. And I didn't even name them all. There were a ton of them, but I really, really liked The Faculty. This one was a really cool movie and really fun. So I'm so glad I finally got to see it. So tell me down below what you guys think of The Faculty, and thank you so much for watching.